What is the one thing that has remained constant through every war, every civilization, every revolution, and every technological leap? It isn't fire, it isn't steel, it's not even language, at least not in its raw mechanical form. It's story. From the moment we could think beyond just survival, we've been telling stories. We've carved them into caves, passed them around campfires, etched them into scrolls and tablets, adapted those into plays and novels, filmed them, coded them into video games, and now stories are the heartbeat of human consciousness. A signal fire passed from one mind to another in the hope of being understood. They are how we make sense of the world, how we teach, how we cope, and most importantly, how we connect. Storytelling isn't just something we do, it's who we are, but it's being attacked. To be human is to be aware of time, of morality, of cause and consciousness. That awareness brings questions. What happened before? What comes next? Why does any of this matter? And story is our answer to all of it. Story shaped tribes, created mythologies, which gave rise to cultures which built civilizations. Without storytelling, there is no shared identity. There are no religions, no laws, no nations, no moral codes. Even history is a story we collectively agree to remember. Without it, we're dust in the wind. What is Superman if not a modern-day Hercules? What is Jesus if not a parable made flesh? These aren't just characters. They're mirrors, ideals, aspirations. Superman teaches us hope and restraint and the power of doing good for its own sake. Jesus teaches love and forgiveness and radical compassion. In both cases, their stories endure not because of explosions or feats or miracles, but because they show us what we might become if we choose light over darkness. And we keep creating these icons. Every culture has them. In Japan, you can look at Naruto and Luffy, who teach perseverance, empathy, and the fight for freedom. Spider-Man teaches responsibility. Katara and Aang teach the importance of balance and mercy. These are more than just fictional characters. They are cultural scaffolding, our collective moral teachers dressed in a metaphor. We remember them, we quote them.
First try.
We raise our kids with them. We grow up and grow old carrying their stories like torches in the darkness. But not all stories are grand epics or spiritual texts. Our daily lives are stitched together by casual narratives. You won't believe what happened at work today. When I was your age, I met the love of my life because of this weird coincidence. These aren't just updates or entertainment, they are rituals of bonding. A conversation is a mini-story. A joke is a short-form narrative. A photo caption, a tweet, a voicemail. These are all ways of saying, here's what I saw, here's how I felt, please see it too. In this way, stories are invitations to empathy. When we listen to someone else's story, we momentarily inhabit their world. Their pain, their joy, their confusion, it becomes ours even if just for a moment. In a world full of division, that's no small thing. And yet, despite how deeply storytelling is woven into our identity, we are living in an era that threatens to sever us from this most sacred craft. The rise of AI-generated content, algorithm-optimized media, and virality-driven consumption is pushing us towards convenience over authenticity. We no longer wait to experience a story ourselves or out of our own curiosity. We look for a consensus first. Before a movie hits theaters, it's already reviewed online, dissected, rated, and memeified. People form opinions based on headlines and thumbnails and strangers' hot takes. Instead of their own curiosity, we default to judgment. Instead of exploration, we're seeking validation. And it's not just in movies. This extends to video games and books and art. I've seen people have full-on debates about Clair Obscur 33, Pokemon Legends ZA, and Octopath Traveler before they even came out. Not from personal experience, but from second-hand regurgitations of someone else's story. We're drifting from first-person living into third-person parroting. And then there's AI, an invention that promises to help creativity by automating it. There's nothing wrong with using AI as a tool. Grammar suggestions, idea prompts, outlines, but there's a difference between a chisel and a sculptor. A difference between helping someone build and replacing them entirely. Yet so many are eager to just hand over the brush. Why write a poem when ChatGPT can do it faster? Why draw when an AI model can generate an image in seconds better than I could draw it? Why think when you can just prompt? Because thinking is the art. Because struggling through the first draft, refining a melody, reworking a scene, that's the soul of the story. I think back regularly to the final scene in Prince of Egypt where the water gets split. And it's a really beautiful scene, but what makes it so much more impactful to me is the knowledge that it took a team of people a year to animate that. And there is so much pride and soul in that work. And stories without soul may still look as impressive, but they don't stay with you. They don't change you. Stories made by machines are mirrors without a person holding them. They reflect nothing, mean nothing, move nothing. They don't bleed. They don't love. And yet people chase this illusion, not because they're evil, but because they're tired. Tired of working long hours, tired of rejection, tired of not getting enough likes, tired of feeling like their voice doesn't matter. And that's the biggest tragedy of all. Not that AI is replacing art, but that so many people feel replaceable. So how do we fight this? How do we reclaim storytelling and art as a human act? We tell our stories anyway, and encourage others to do the same. Even if no one listens at first, even if someone mocks you for being cringe or too emotional or too idealistic. We write, we sing, we animate, we record, we post, we speak, and we share, not to get famous, not to go viral, but to connect. Because even one honest story told with heart and intention can save a life. It can stop someone else from giving up. It can plant a seed of an idea. It can be the thing someone remembers when everything else fades. Every revolution begins with a story. Every change, every apology, every realization. The most effective way to reach someone who disagrees with you isn't a fact sheet. It's a narrative. It's the personal, not the statistical, that changes minds. And the most hardened heart can be softened by a story told with vulnerability. So we don't stop. We write even when it hurts. We create even when we're scared. And we tell our truth. At its core, every story worth telling is about love. Not just romantic love, but compassion, kindness, struggle, sacrifice, and humanity. The stories that last, the ones that echo through time, are ones that make us feel something so real. A father who walks across a ruined country to protect his daughter. A boy who believes in friendship despite overwhelming odds. A rebel who defies an empire because he knows freedom is worth the risk. A savior who forgives even those who crucify him. These are not just tales. They are reminders that we are capable of more than apathy. That we can still care, still hope, and still love. Because hate is a story too. But it is lazy, it is simple, it is loud and easy and shallow. Love takes more work. It requires listening. It demands courage. It asks us to see ourselves in someone else. And the only way to truly combat hate is with a better story. A story of compassion over cruelty, connection over division, empathy over ego. A story about us. So please tell yours. Thank you so much for watching.